What's up, y'all? In today's video, we're going to break down what's the difference between a will, a trust, and what that means to you. Check it out. What's up, y'all? My name is Saluto Uba, and I'm the founder of the Uba Law Group. We're a law firm that's here to help you protect your business and family legacy. So like I said, in this video, we're going to break down the difference between a will and a trust and really help you understand which one makes the most sense for you. So hopping right into it, when we're talking about a will, we are talking about a document that breaks down what happens to your assets after you pass away. So with the will, you can lay out who you want to be guardians of your children. You can lay out specifically who you want to inherit certain pieces of your assets or your estate. And you can also break down what particular wishes you want to happen with different pieces of property or different specific heirlooms or different things like that. In short, your will explains what you want to happen to your stuff after you're gone. It's pretty simple, but it does a decent job making sure that the people that you want to get your stuff when you pass away. Now, one of the negatives associated with the will is the fact that it has to go through probate court. Probate court is the assets through which a court system, a judge, will distribute your assets to your family. Now, the reason that probate court is important is because there needs to be a fair and transparent distribution of your assets. When somebody passes away and they have a will, people need to be able to understand who they said was going to get their stuff, and it needs to be done in a way that everybody sees so there's no controversy over it. So probate court involves lots of different hearings and meetings. It typically involves someone who is assigned to distribute the assets called an executor or an administrator, and it involves different processes to prove that the actual assets are going to the right people, or if there are any liabilities or debts of the estate, that those are taken care of in an orderly fashion. Now, probate court can be helpful for those who need some systems and structures to make sure that their assets are distributed. However, probate court also comes with downsides in the fact that you do have to show up regularly for different hearings. You have to get the approval from a judge in the court in order to distribute assets. You have to get approval in order to really make any type of decision on behalf of the estate while the probate process is going on. Additionally, the probate process can take a long time. Depending on who you leave behind when you pass on, you might want your assets to be distributed quickly, and that typically isn't something that happens with the probate process. Now, that's not a full and exhaustive breakdown of what it means to have a will, but the highlights are, if you have a will, that's going to dictate what happens to your assets, who gets them, and it can also dictate things like who you want to be guardians of your children. That will is ultimately going to have to go through probate court, and like we just discussed, the probate court system has some downsides, but it does have some benefits as well. Now, a trust is basically a contract where you dictate what you want to happen to your assets, and you set someone up in place to manage those assets on behalf of the trust. Now, one of the differences between a trust and a will is that with a trust, you are actually changing the ownership of your assets, typically while you're alive, into the trust. And then the person that you empower to run the trust, the trustee, they have the authority to deal with those assets according to your rules and according to your instructions. So contrasting with the will, a will really distributes your assets after you pass away. But with the trust, you can at any point put your assets into the trust and set up rules and parameters for what's going to happen with those assets. Now, one of the other things that's really great about a trust is that a trust gives control to the person that you want to have control of the assets. Typically, during someone's lifetime, they'll have a revocable living trust, and they'll be in control of the assets, and they'll be able to dictate what they want to happen. But you can also have different types of trusts that have different rules and different protections. One of the other things that's really great about a trust is that a trust avoids probate court. Like we said before, a trust actually transfers the ownership or the title of your assets from yourself personally into the trust. So because the ownership of your assets is in the trust, you do not have to go through probate court, and your assets can be distributed according to the trust document and according to the rules that you set out beforehand. Now, all of these things involve a lot of strategy and a lot of thoughtful consideration and a lot of planning, so making sure that you understand which one is best for you is extremely important. So the last thing that you have to know before we wrap up is that even if you haven't chosen a will or a trust and you think that your estate plans are just kind of up in the air, the truth is they're not up in the air. If you haven't chosen a plan for yourself, the state that you're living in has chosen a plan. And that default plan is going to go according to some default template state rules. It's not going to go according to your personal wishes. It's not going to go according to any personal plan or intention that you might have. So one of the things that's most important when I talk to clients is having them understand that creating an estate plan is exactly that. It's creating a plan for your assets according to your wishes so that what you want to happen is actually what gets enforced and not the default rules that the state has for you. So whether or not you've come up with a plan, the state that you live in has a plan for you. So when we talk about creating a wealth or a legacy or transition plan, an estate plan, whatever you want to call it, all we're talking about is making sure that your actual wishes have a plan in place to enforce what you want to happen. So I know that this is a lot to chew on, so if you have any additional questions, please feel free to reach out to us. We take care of these issues for clients all the time. When we talk about building your family legacy, the estate plan is the foundation of it. Without this plan in place, there's so many different things that you won't be able to take care of, and there's so many future generations that are going to be in a worse off position. So I don't say that to kind of scare or to discourage anybody, but I want to encourage you to be proactive about this and make sure that you have a plan in place. So once again, until next time, keep on grinding, keep on hustling. I believe in y'all. I'm gonna see you on the next video. Peace.